Okay, so now what we are going to discuss is a little bit about Gradle because it's important to understand what Gradle is, what his main responsibility is, because we will use a lot Gradle in this course. Now we've already used it when I showed you an example a difference between Spring and Spring Boot, and I put all these lines here. Now I will just do something like this. I'm going to delete this line, and pay attention, it's SL4J API. I'm going to click refresh, and now I'm going to go to file. It apparently hasn't done it. API, let me just delete it from here. So if you see now, I have a compiler error, and basically what I've done, I've removed this library from my project. Now, let's imagine you are building an application like this one, and you want to use a logger. Now, the approach you can do is build your own logger, but in programming, it's a concept to not reinvent the wheel. If somebody has done it before, if it's free, if it's open source, and if it's probably better tested, you should just use that if the project allows you to. And that's why in Java we have this concept of importing external libraries. So why spend a lot of time trying to build this logger when you can just focus on your logic? So that's why somebody has already built this logger for us. Now, how would we do this without Gradle? So what I will do, this is the external libraries in my project. So if we click here, you will see all the libraries in my project. So these were being added by Spring. So Spring Context, Spring Beans, and so on. But the one which I've deleted, the SL4J API, is not there. So how would I do this? So I will go to this site, which is a Maven repository. Basically, this is like a central site where all the jars and all the libraries are being stored. Let's say you want to build your own library, you will upload it to this site. So I can go to this site. Let me just search SL4J API. I'm going to find this. I'm going to go here. Now, every library has like version, because maybe you do a lot of upgrades to the library and you update specific version. But I want this one. So I will go to this one, and you can see here I have the jar file. So the build jar file. So I will download this, and I've already downloaded it. After I've downloaded this, I'm going to go to my project. I'm going to go to File, Project Structure, and here I have my libraries directory. And here I will manually add the library which I have deleted. So I'm going to go here. Now I'm going to need to go to downloads. It's in user Edward downloads. Here it is. Now I'm going to select main, OK, and then apply. And you see right now the compiler has been I no longer have a compile error because my okay, I have here, let me just refresh. I think I need to type here reload from disk. Okay, it's already there. So you see right now, this is the library which I have manually added. Now try to imagine how long it will take in a real project, an enterprise project, to import all your libraries. It will be a nightmare, and it's a manual task. And let's say that tomorrow you want a different version. What will you have to do? So you'll have to go here, delete this version, go again, and download, I don't know, this version. So this is manually a task, and it takes a lot of time, and it's not very practical, and it's not very scalable. So that's why Gradle comes into play. What Gradle is a dependency management tool. So if you can automate it, do it. So the main responsibility of Gradle is the fact that it does all this dependency for you. So you see here, when we build a new project, I mean, if you code it with me, if not, it's fine. When I build a new project, I type new project, and it's not a Java project, it's a Gradle. Because it's Gradle means Java plus this Gradle stuff that does for you. Another dependency management tool is Maven, but in this course we will use Gradle. But they do basically the same stuff. So what Gradle does, if we look on this build Gradle file, what Gradle does, it has this dependency object here. And this dependency object does all this thing for you. So if you see here, we have here repositories and it says Maven Central. So based on this configuration, and based on the code which you go here, Gradle will go to Maven Central for you. So this Maven repository will download the jar files for you with the specific version which you type here and will add it in your project. So it simplifies everything for you. So let me just go again and delete this library which I have manually added. Apply. Now I'm going to have an error, and let me just type it again. So the syntax is this one. So let me go to here, and you can see that Maven repository has already provided for you all these commands, so you won't have to necessarily type them. But the syntax is something like this. You will need to put the general package, if you see here, org from organization SL4J, the particular package which you want, and the version. And if you see here, it's org SL4J, SL4J API, and the particular version which you want. So this is for Gradle. Now if you want for Maven, you have here this syntax, but it's basically the same. It has a group ID, so this is the general, let's say the general project, the artifact ID, which is the sub project, and the particular version. Now here we are going to take the Gradle, and I'm going to put, let me just paste this, let me just uncomment this. And after you put this, you see that I have this this icon here because I have made changes in my dependency, and I need to click this load Gradle changes. And after I have done this, you will see that here this SL4J API has been added for me. So what Gradle does behind the scenes, it looked in the Maven Central, it downloaded this jar, and it added to my class path. So if tomorrow I want another version, let's say I want the 2.6 version, I can just do something like this. And I will load Gradle. And you will see behind the scenes has downloaded the new version for me. Now, where does Gradle stores this? So they store in this folder. So in your user, your profile.gradle caches, modules, files. And if you see here, I have org SL4J API. You see I have those two versions which I have downloaded. And here you have like a hash, is something for caching, and this is my jar file which have been downloaded. Now let me just take a random package. Let me just take, I don't know, let me take this one. So I'm going to put this here. And you see org glavo kala, now I don't even know what this means. Now let me go to this folder, files, and you see I don't have an org.glava folder. And let me just refresh this. Now behind the scenes, Gradle will take this for me and import in my project. If you see here, org glavo kala template, and here are all the source files. And now let me go here. You will see that here it has downloaded this folder for me, this one, and this jar for me. And this is Gradle. This is the main task of Gradle. It's a dependency management tool. So it simplifies all your work. And why is this important in a Spring course? Because in Spring is a framework, which basically is a jar files, a collection of jar files. And if we go to our project, let me just open our project. I think this one is, yes. You see here, we have this Spring framework.boot. This is the source, let's say the primary project, Spring Boot Starter. And what Spring Boot Starter has done behind the scenes, it has downloaded all these jars for you. So this is imagine, try to do this manually. So this is the power of Gradle. And I've just explained to you the main focus of Gradle. Now, Gradle has a lot of other use cases. It has some predefined tasks. Now, I have this icon here, Gradle. If I click on it, and if I click, okay, where it was, I think this one. Oh no, task, my bad. You see here, I have, let me go to build. So these are predefined tasks which Gradle can do for you. Now, if I type clean, you will see that this clean will delete this build directory. So let me type clean. You see that the build directory has been deleted. These are all predefined tasks which you normally will do when you want to build your application, you want to deploy your application, you want to create your jar, and so on. Now, if I type build, this will build my application. You see, it's doing all this task behind the scenes. And you will see now that the build folder has been created. And if I go here, classes, libs, you will see here that this is the jar which have been created, which basically is my application. Now let's imagine you want to deploy this to a server, or you want to deploy this, I don't know, add this to someone else to use it. You will just take this jar and deploy it to Maven. So this is Gradle, just some quick introduction to understand this dependency object and these repositories. Now, if you see here, we have this group, this version, and the source compatibility. And behind the scenes, Gradle has created this com example group ID and this version snapshot. You see here, 001 snapshot. So in this course, when we learn all the other modules, we will use Gradle and we will let Gradle do all these things for us.